Donna's ready. We'll go ahead and do pledge allegiance. We'll go ahead and call the Ellis County Commission meeting to order. All rise for the pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Donna, please call the roll.
Commissioner Butch Schleier.
Present.
Chair, Commissioner Dean Hazelhorst.
Present.
Commissioner Destin Locke.
Present.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Any changes to the order of business this evening? None. Prior minutes, August 27th, September 3rd, September 9th. Additions, corrections? None.
For me.
Dustin, none. Stand approved as presented. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through G.
I move we approve consent agenda items A through G as presented.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Donna. Issues from persons not on the order of business this evening. Do we have anyone? Seeing none. Monthly departmental report. I'm sure you all looked at your packet you got in the mail.
I did. I'll make one comment about the monthly department report. As I was reading about the health department, what jumped off the page at me was that their vaccinations had increased so much, 40-50% over last year. And again, their physicals are up 80 or 90% over last year. So people are coming back to the health department once again.
Yep. Thank you, Butch. Dustin, anything?
Nothing from me.
Nothing from me either, and I will say it was very well put together. As always, department heads, you guys do a great job. It's a wealth of knowledge. Thank you for all that, and Phil, thank you for putting all that together. Next item on the agenda, purchase of 2 new road graders, Public Works Department, Bill Ring.
Good evening, Commissioners. Bill Ring, Public Works Director. Before you tonight, I have an agenda item about being able to purchase 2 new graders. And I have with me Mr. Jay Wade from Foley, who's our sales rep. So if there's any specific questions, he can be called upon to answer those. So anyway, what we're looking for tonight is to be able to take and purchase 2 new graders, but in doing that, we also are going to trade in 3 graders to try. We have basically, if you want to call it an extra, whatever, and it's in tough shape, but Foley was willing to look at that and put that as part of the package. So if you go to the last page of the agenda item, they're still giving us with that, it's a 92 140G series, $24,700. Now with these 2 graders, the 2 new ones that we're requesting you consider, they're 12 M3s, and that's just the model of what the grader is. In 2017, we purchased a 12 M3, which was a 2016 leftover. Foley has 2 12 M3s that are leftover. They're 2018 models, and we can purchase them at 2018 pricing. Right now, 2019 units are being sold as well, and 2020 units will be started to be sold here in early October. But they do come with full factory warranty. So from whenever we would have them signed into their computer system, they would assign the 7-year, 8,500-hour full Caterpillar warranty. And we've had great success doing that with the one we bought in 17. And the fact that it's a year model different, really, unlike vehicles, it really doesn't matter. It's a new piece of equipment. It's spec'd out the way we would normally take a grader with the appropriate options and the appropriate tires that we use. We use what's a Michelin called a Snow Plus, with the amount of roads we have to take care of in the winter that we've found over the years. That's the best tire to put on them. So, I mean, I could go through the discussion area, or if you have specific questions, I've tried to briefly lay out where we stand on it, the age and the hours.
Jay, do you mind coming up with Bill, please? I guess just a couple things. It's obvious we make sure we run our graders till they have like 18,000 hours on them. And the new ones come with an 8,500 hour warranty. After the 8,500 warranty, does CAT offer extended warranty at that point or not?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Typically, you can extend warranty longer than that. A lot of it depends on age of the equipment, and then hours. Typically, they won't do anything over 10,000 hours.
So going forward, should we look at, I know we get the goodie out of our graders with 18,000 hours on them. Should we look at possibly trading earlier, they're gonna be worth more obviously than
Sure.
what we're presently getting out of 3 graders.
Right, yeah, probably. In the past, you guys have traded a lot earlier than that, but kind of got out of that practice over the last however many years that's been. But yeah, probably, it's certainly something to look at. I think you guys you'll have 15, or if we do this deal, will you have 15 or 14 graders, Bill?
Well, at 15.
15?
15 graders.
One at the landfill and then 14 at Road and Bridge.
One at the landfill's an H, isn't it? An older H?
It's the twin
Yeah, it's a
to
G.
the
Oh, this
92
one.
we're trading
Yeah,
here.
it's a G.
G.
I guess I just look at what it's gonna cost to trade, 3 for 2, and, that number would obviously be less if we'd trade with less hours, versus running them 18,000 hours. That's just a lot of hours on a machine. Other question, Jay, while you're here, with how technology keeps changing, we all keep adding horsepower to graders, and I know it's typical in the industry, I know.
Mhm.
I know the other day I was looking at a Brand X machine. It was coming out with suitcase weights on the rear. Is that to keep up with the competition, or is that to hold the grader to the ground? Or is that both?
Well, I would say both, probably. We don't have that. Ours are all of our weight. Anytime you have a grader, it has as much to do with horsepower as it does with weight, because you're always pushing things and so forth. So you have to have that weight, and it has to be able to hook up. So if you're too light, yeah, you can have all the horsepower you want in the world, and it looks good on paper and so forth. But if you're not getting that horsepower to the ground and able to move that, then all you're doing is spinning your tires and spending more money on tires, fuel, all sorts of things. So, yeah, weight is an important factor when it comes to grading.
Off the top of your head, these 12 M3s, what do they weigh? Kind of base machines that we're looking at?
The base weight, and we're talking without hardly any extras on there, is about 38,000.
The time we put a lift group and everything on, we're probably pushing 40,
by the time-
39 and a half.
40 plus.
41.
Yeah,
40,
41,
41.
probably closer, once you take because the 38 is with a 12-foot blade on it, and you get 14s with an extension, plus your lift group, and then just the little things from light bars to AC to things like that. So
So
it's
we're
at least
40,000, pretty easy
Full
probably.
tank of fuel as well.
That full
Yeah,
tank of
you'll be
fuel.
at 40,000 in a hurry.
Okay. That's all the questions I had, fellow commissioners.
I have a couple questions, a few things I just want to run by, things that I've discussed with Bill in the past. We typically do a little better on cats when we do the trades, right? It seem to hold value a little better. Okay.
And that shows, if you look at the deer that's being traded, the difference.
Yeah.
About the same age and hours.
Okay.
It's a considerable amount.
Okay.
And it still runs.
Yeah, I know sometimes when things get tight, this is the type of thing that we try to push off, and then sometimes it bites us even harder because we try to do that. And, as we're talking about possibly a new shop and things like that, this is something that is concerning to me because this is the stuff that's actually hitting the road. It's the important stuff. And the last thing, I had a few questions about, replacing 3 with 2, but as we talk about how we struggle to have staff, you know, I would rather at least have good equipment that's running consistently and keeping up. Have you heard of any issues with these? This is obviously now a almost couple-year-old model. Any issues that we've had? Obviously, we've got some warranty, but we want these things on the road.
Right, but this would be the same as the one that we purchased in 17, which
Okay.
was a 16, it's an identical machine.
Okay.
It's a 12M3.
And we're not having any problems with them?
No.
Good, good. Okay, yeah, that's all I have.
Butch, anything?
No, I really don't have much in the way of questions. It's trading 3 for 2. That doesn't get you behind in graders, does it, Bill?
It does a little bit, but with what it's gonna cost, and we went through this a year and a half ago, I believe it was, with Joe's grader. The way a grader is structured, the transmission is actually underneath the engine as part of the rear wheel assembly. So if you need a transmission work done, you gotta take the engine out. Well, when you have 12,000 plus hours, it only makes sense to go through the other. And so with his engine actually went out. And so we put, I think it was right at 62,000 to put a new engine in it and then have the transmission gone through. So if you have a transmission let go, which is what we have on the oldest grader, you're gonna have a minimum 30 there. Well, do you put 30 and then not do something to the engine? And you've got a 92 grader, so, but yes, Commissioner, it'll put us behind a little bit, but, you know, we can work with that, again, having, you know, the machines that are on the road every day instead of the potential for being in the shop will enhance the, service level that we can provide.
And right now, we're down 2 already,
Correct.
so. Okay.
And then as we move forward, Bill, how's your Fund 16 looking for future replacements?
You want me to take that one?
Sure.
All the capital needs for public works are fully funded through 2020.
Okay.
After that, you might want to discuss that in the next agenda item.
There you go.
But the 3 for 2, and it's something that the administrator and I talked about, and I think it was a good idea, because I'm not gonna come ask you to put $40, $50, $60,000 in a machine that's that old. It's not worth it. And so if we can get the value out of it, and with what, you know, they're offering us, I think it would be well suited us to get into the newer graders. And we're doing the same thing right now, looking, because I'll be coming back for about dump trucks. And we're looking at trying to do the same sort of thing, where we have an extra dump truck. If I can do a 3 for 2 there and have, you know, newer equipment on the road and it's under factory warranty, we can keep it, you know, keep things moving along.
Okay,
The way I see this, as we start looking at contract labor, I suggest we at least get good machines, and the guys we're paying a wage to are hitting the road and getting things done. And essentially, this is a way of our way of controlling our fixed costs while we struggle with variable out there in labor and things like that. So we're controlling a fixed cost. We'll probably keep an employee a lot longer on a nice new grader as opposed to a 1992, and I think this is probably a good move.
okay. Anything else? None? Thank you both. This time I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion that the commission approve the purchase of 2 new 12M3 Caterpillar graders from Foley Equipment for $421,000, using the dollars set aside in Fund 16 for capital purchases. This would include trading in 3 older graders.
I second that motion.
Donna, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? None? Before I call for the vote, Jay, how much are the 2020s higher than the 18 models off the top of your head?
Typically, you can guarantee that there's at least bare minimum 3% price increase per year.
That answers that question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, storage area network equipment purchase. IT Director Mike Liker.
Good evening, IT Director Mike Liker. This is not really like graders, but it's similar to graders, I guess. We have storage devices that hold all of our data. It's kind of the core of what we do in our back-end server room, much like the graders are a lot of what they do in Public Works. But we have a storage device called a SAN, or Storage Area Network, that is 12 years old. This device stores 90% or better of our data that we access on a daily basis, as well as two physical servers that are connected to that storage device that holds all of our, that's where all our applications run. Those two servers are also 12 years old. These devices all run 24/7, 365. So if you want to equate that to hours like you do with a grader, that's over 100,000 hours on these devices. So suffice it to say, they have certainly done their job and put in their time. We have replaced equipment, hard drives, and controllers on those devices over the years to keep them running, as those things do wear out, just much like tires or transmissions do. But it's time to replace those. So you have a proposal before you for the Dell SAN devices and Dell server devices. The total price on that is $69,697.28. This project has been planned for and budgeted out of the capital improvement plan. Thankfully, thanks to the Register of Deeds, a great portion of that, $65,000, is coming from the Register of Deeds Tech Fund. The registrar was gracious enough to channel that money over to our project, so that's where the lion's share of the money will be coming from. But it is budgeted for, and I will open it up to questions.
I don't have any, Mike.
Okay.
So, Mike, how is your Fund 16 doing?
After this, it will be gone. There will be
What-
nothing left.
What kind of future needs are you looking at?
I shouldn't say it's gone. We do have items budgeted for PC replacement. That's an ongoing replacement schedule that we do have money funded through 2020. I think, Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, after 2020, that is the same situation as with Public Works capital. So we're good for this year and for the PC replacement for next year. But other than that, there are always projects that need other pieces of equipment that need to be replaced or
Sure.
upgrades that need to be done. So, yeah, we'll be in the same boat.
Dustin?
All right, Mike, I'm going to ask you just a few questions. Obviously, this is storage of our data. I've sat on now multiple focus groups through an organization I'm a part of about cybersecurity. And through most of those, they talk about cloud backup as the number one way that we should go towards, because of the resources of these cloud organizations and their ability to protect us from cybersecurity. I imagine we do both, right?
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
So as long as, that's the thing. So now we've got a backup for the cloud. We've got a backup for these servers if we have issues with them.
That's correct.
So with it's amazing how county funds get tied up in different areas, and I'm glad that Rebecca had the ability to move these funds for this project, because it's obviously very important. You and I both know how important data is to us in the county, and how at risk we are for security threats. So the idea that we're keeping this highly valuable data safe is I think an important step, and like I say, with county money, it's just weird how it gets stuck in these funds and can't be used for anything except for its intended purpose. But it looks like we found a really good way to utilize those funds at the Register of Deeds. So that's all the questions I have.
It'd be a whole lot better idea to me if we could use it to haul dirt or push snow with.
Yeah, data's important too.
I haven't figured that out yet, so.
All the information that you get tonight and on every Monday night and anything from all of us, it all funnels through the storage, you know, so it all plays in. It's central to everything that we do, so.
We're continually backing up, and I know it's an issue that other counties have had that, knock on wood, we haven't. And I think it's partially due to your good work and maybe a bit of luck in the county, because I know that they're constantly fishing for our information or to tie our hands on things. So that's all I have.
Make the motion.
I move that the commission approve that the IT director accept the quote from Dell EMC for 2 ME4024 storage arrays and 2 PowerEdge R440 servers for $69,697.28.
Donna, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Calling a special election for sales tax. Question, County Administrator Philip Smith Haynes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next 3 items on your agenda this evening are mine. I figured we would start kind of with the biggie. Earlier this evening, you approved minutes from the August 27th special work session, and at that time, your commission agreed by consensus to hold a mail ballot election in the spring of 2020 with 2 questions, one being a 1/4 cent sales tax for healthcare services with all proceeds to the county, and the other being a 1/4 cent general sales tax with proceeds shared with the various cities within the county. Discussed the mail ballot election with the county councilor as well as County Clerk Maskus, and we believe that Tuesday, April 7th would be the best date for an election. We worked with Gilmore and Bell, who did our last sales tax election, to prepare the attached items for calling the election, including a resolution, which you will need to pass tonight if you would like to go forward. The election is not free. The county election officer estimates at least $20,500 for the cost of printing ballots and envelopes, postage for mailing out the ballots and the return postage, required publications, election supplies, and the costs of election board workers. In addition, I would recommend that your commission foot the cost of at least 1 informational mailer to the voters, and I have received a cost of $3,525 for that. The budget for 2020 has already been adopted. All costs for a special election would need to be paid out of the contingency account. So we're talking approximately $25,000 out of $140,000 contingency. On the other hand, if the sales tax is passed, you are looking at potential revenues of about $2.2 million annually for a 10-year period, and would anticipate that the first revenues would start by the end of 2020. So if necessary, the budget could be amended at that point. Be happy to answer any questions.
Bill, I'll just say, thought it was very well put together, what you and staff, or Mr. Jeter, I don't know if he helped you or not with this, but it was very well put together, and the wording on the questions I thought was very adequate. Did a good job on that. Thank you. Butch, questions?
I have no questions, Phil.
Dustin, questions?
I think we've talked about this at length. I think us three must continue to understand that this could not pass. Both of them could not pass. Both of them could pass. One could pass and the other not. So I think the discussions we have with the citizens of this county about what might happen if we are forced to make some hard decisions next year are important for them to know and understand before the election. And I think that this is great that we are going to have this done before budget time, because I think if we had to do another budget next year without knowing whether or not funds are available, there are some departments that would see massive cuts, if not completely dissolving. So to what our statutes require from us. So I have no other questions. I think, like I said, we've talked about it at length. I think it's just important that we spend the next 7-8 months doing our best job to have people understand what we already know, because we've seen and been tracking the finances of our county. So
This time I'd ask for a motion.
I move that the commission adopt resolution number 2019-11, authorizing and calling a special question election for the purpose of submitting to the electors of the county questions of imposing separate 1/4 cent countywide retailers' sales taxes and providing for the giving of notice of said election.
I'll second that motion.
Donna, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion, commissioners? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you both. Phil, you again? RFP
Yes,
for study on
so
user fees.
thank you, Mr. Chair, County Administrator Philip Smith Haynes. So the sales tax question that you just considered was one of the items that your commission discussed at your retreat earlier this year. Another item that was discussed at that retreat was direction to study user fee increases or adjustments and an examination of services that could be provided by contract. So I did some research on this question and was able to develop a draft request for proposals that we could send out to consulting firms to get those studies done for us. However, in doing the research, I found that other entities that have done similar studies have paid around $40,000, give or take, for that kind of a study. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to check back in with the commission on that before I just bring a contract for $40,000. The total amount of revenue that the county is budgeted to receive in 2020 from goods, services, fees, licenses, and permits, which is essentially what we'd be talking about here, is $127,536. So you would have to increase that by over 31% in order to recoup the cost of a $40,000 study. So do you want me to go forward or not? That's the question for this evening.
Mr. Administrator, I guess my thought, I think we need to put this on the shelf till 2020 and review it maybe at that point. I think we spent enough money tonight. I just don't see where this study is going to benefit the county as of right now, spending $40,000 when I feel my fellow commissioners and myself have already done an excellent job of cutting, and our department heads have done an excellent job of also being more efficient. At this time, I feel it needs to be put on the shelf. Thoughts?
I agree 100% with the chair.
Thoughts?
Yeah, short answer from me is no on this. I don't think we need to do this right now. But I do think on a department basis, I think if they look into and talk with our peer counties and make sure that we're not overcharging but not undercharging too, because we don't have the liberty to undercharge for things right now. But yeah, this is way more money than I was expecting. So I think we pass on this for now.
Message received.
ADA policy updates, County Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, hopefully this one will be a little bit easier. I'm just asking you to update some language that has not been updated in 27 years. Peggy McCulloch doesn't work here anymore, so would ask that your commission update our Americans with Disabilities Act notice and our grievance procedure to reflect current conditions, and we will get these posted to the county website.
Butch, would you make that motion, please?
I'll make the motion that the commission update the 1992 ADA notice and grievance procedure as shown and direct the county administrator to distribute these policies, including posting on the county's website.
I second that motion.
Don, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion, I'm assuming. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Phil, under your county administrator report, is that your evaluations or not?
It is not. That would be an executive session item.
Okay, go ahead.
County Administrator report, I just have one brief item. Your commission will not be meeting next Monday or the Monday after, so your county administrator is going on vacation. And since I will be in a different time zone, I felt it would be appropriate to name an acting county administrator next week while I'm gone. That will be Mr. Mike Liker.
Thank you. Commission reports.
I have no report, Chairman.
We had the Northwest Kansas Highway Officials Association meeting. Had quite a few people from our county attend. Thank you, Public Works employees and Bill, for helping set up everything and doing everything your employees did. Very well attended. I don't remember how many, 135, I think.
Well, I think we put in for 150 for lunch, so.
Okay, but lunch was good, all the food was good, thank you all the vendors that was there. In the morning, Murphy Tractor fed us breakfast, lunch, Foley Equipment, thank you Jay and Company for doing that. Afternoon, they had a great equipment display outside, 32 vendors on the inside, I believe, and heard a lot of great comments. Sorry you guys missed it, but it was a good deal. Phil, thank you for being there while you could be there before you had to leave. That's all I had.
I'm sorry I missed that. The reason I did, I was out of town. I attended Leadership Kansas South Central. I got to tour Spirit Aero Systems. I attended a healthcare summit where we talked about things like Medicaid expansion and telemedicine. The neat thing about the telemedicine talk was the importance of first responders. In the telemedicine arena, they obviously are gone, and so they can't be the first person to get hands on somebody who may be sick, injured, things like that. And then I toured El Dorado Correctional Facility, which was quite the eye-opening thing to learn about prison reform and what prisoners of the state of Kansas, what kind of life they live behind bars. They did let me back out, so that was good. I think, for the future, something that I want to get on the top of your guys' minds is the idea of creating some tax policy that creates some abatements that maybe are a ratcheting type of abatement to attract some more growth to Ellis County, allowing people to build things that may be important to our sales tax numbers if we do get in line with the sales tax coming next year. Just something to keep in mind. These are things that have been tossed around of what other counties and cities do throughout the state in order to try to attract new building and things of that nature. Other than that, the other thing with a sales tax is I think as a commission we'll have to start looking at infrastructure a little differently and what kind of infrastructure tracks sales tax dollars. Something that the county hasn't really been involved with too much with sales tax. Obviously, we don't collect anything like that right now, but in the past, I know we have for projects and things like that. I think it's something for us to keep in mind as well while we're talking with voters. But that's all from me.
Thank you, Dustin. Very good. Who's got the executive session?
I got it here.
Butch has it.
I move the Board of Commissioners go to executive session for non-elected personnel matters for department head performance evaluations for a period of 40 minutes. Those in attendance would be Administrator Philip Smith Haynes, Lisa Ree, Mike Liker, Darren Myers, and Bill Ring.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Donna, we will adjourn at 6:18 and no, 6:17, no action.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Have a great evening.
See you in